Welcome back to the Mustang Blueprint. I am your host, Morgan Muller, and I am here with my co-host.
My name is Amanda Saline. I am a justice professor here at SMSU, and today we are joined by a couple of guests, actually. We've got Candace and Jackson with us, so you can tell us a little bit about yourselves.
My name is Candace, and I'm an alumni here at SMSU. I currently work at Western Mental Health as a mental health practitioner and co-responder.
I'm Jackson. I'm also an alumni here, and I am currently a police officer with the Marshall Police Department.
All right, so the trick here is that they're both justice majors in my program, so that's why I twisted their arms to get them here. So thanks for coming, guys. Do you want to tell us a little bit about what you do in your respective positions?
So I'm a patrol officer, so I respond to calls, make traffic stops, go to court, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
All right.
So I provide adult case management in both the Redwood and Lyon County Jail. So adult mental health, we do mental health group, and then from there I help make the transition in and or out of jail, just talking about what their needs are, and then additionally respond to mental health crisis calls with law enforcement or without them, depending on the scenario.
And so that's what you were talking, you said at the beginning you're a co-responder. That's what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. So we're directing this conversation towards that mental health side of things. Obviously, MPD does a lot more than just mental health calls, but we're going to focus in on some of that. And so let's talk a little bit about how you get involved with mental health in the community. And maybe we'll start with Jackson, and then we'll bring Candace in as that feels good.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for us, it's mainly going to be calls for service, whether it's a welfare check or a mental health call. Then we respond to that scene and get as much detail as we can. I know there's a couple times that I've called Candace, hey, this is kind of what we've been dealing with. What do you want to do about it? Do I want to get the crisis team rolling, or should I just refer them to you guys this morning? And we can go as far as taking them to the hospital if we see that they're a danger to themselves.
So what's the crisis team?
Yes, so we also have a mobile crisis team that is able to respond 24/7. You can call or text. And so it can just be somebody to talk to kind of de-escalate that situation with law enforcement, or you can call on your own. So it allows you to just talk with somebody, talk out the situation, and or get further services. So that could be law enforcement taking them to the ER, or it can mean that law enforcement is having them follow up with a co-responder so a report is made, just to ensure that they're getting the services that they need.
So if I was a person that was maybe worried about somebody and I was going to give a call, who would I call to first? Would I either call you, Candace, or would I call the Marshall Police Department?
I am big on calling us first, just because we're going to get there faster, right? So depending on that severity, if it's just, they kind of made a comment tonight, I think they're safe, I'm with them, so I know for right now they're safe, you could call the crisis team and kind of fill them in on what's going on. But if it's something where it's like 2 a.m. and you're like, I got to go home soon, they've kind of made some comments that I'm not a huge fan of, and definitely call us because we're going to get there a lot faster. And then, like I said, we assess the situation, and I'll call Candace about 90% of the time for a mental health call.
Absolutely. And to kind of like piggyback off what Jackson said is just like, if you're with them and it's, something where you could kind of have that little safety plan in place where you do feel like they're safe throughout the evening and maybe following up. We did introduce a new program at Western, and it's our open access policy. So where you could kind of come in right away that morning and see somebody. And that is just also going back to, if you don't feel that they are safe that evening, somebody like Jackson could respond to that call and to ensure their safety for the evening, but also it allows them other services to know that they're not alone.
Absolutely. So if I am going to give that call in, is there anything specific that I should be saying, or do you just kind of take it by case?
As much as you can figure out. I mean, if it's because they texted you, like, what did they exactly say? If it's comments they're making to you, again, what do they exactly say? And then kind of connecting that, like, if somebody's stating that they're going to cut themselves, do they have the means to do that at that time? Or are you guys swimming in a pool? You know what I mean? Because then that changes how we respond to the call. Like, if you're like, they made threats, they want to cut themselves, we're standing in the kitchen, they're holding a knife. now I'm going to respond a lot faster than I am if, you guys are out on a walk and they're saying that they want to cut themselves and they don't have a knife with them right then and there. Then I could just drive there, meet you guys somewhere, and talk with them.
Absolutely. And kind of just asking, trying to ask a little bit indirect questions with the individual that you're with, but to be able to provide the law enforcement direct answers to that. So that kind of goes as like, well, have you felt this way before? How often are you feeling this way? Like, just know I'm here for you. There's others there for you. There's other services. Like, let's sit down and talk about this. This is serious. I care about you. And just kind of like doing it in a direct way and just, versus being like, so when was the last time you cut yourself? Or when was the last time you did self-harm? Do you have access to any of these things within your home or any other weapons? Try to avoid those kind of questions and try to, more so get comfortable with them, build some of that rapport, whether you're friends or family.
So there's a significant difference between that non-suicidal self-injury and actual intent to kill oneself. Can you talk about that a little bit?
For all sake and purposes, I treat them the same, right? You still want to cause harm to yourself. And there's going to be that underlying mental illness that go with that. So not only getting you the medical help at the ER that you need for the wounds that you've caused, but also then putting you in touch with the proper people to help you with the other things that are going on in your life.
Sure.
So that you don't feel that that's a need for you.
Because it's not really your job particularly to figure out if it's non-suicidal self-injury or if you're trying to kill yourself or, right. So that makes sense to me.
Yeah, and I think it's great to respond to each situation as if, somebody were to harm themselves. And that's just because the timing between like the thought and actually following through when they have access or an actual plan is much quicker than people think. And if they're set on it, like, the time frame is very less to none. Versus when they have obstacles kind of in their way, it's a little bit harder for them to actually follow through with it or, to deteriorate them from doing it. Having that plan in place if, they have had that thought before is just like, hey, I can follow up with my safety plan, or I know I can call whomever that they feel comfortable with, or these services if they've had them in the past. But also sometimes back to college students here in Marshall, maybe they might not know what is available to them as far as services here in town, or they kind of get nervous to call law enforcement because, well, I don't want to report. I don't want my parents to know. But law enforcement isn't there to, have that report or have that label on you, but more so that you can get connected with the right people.
So that actually leads to a very nice segue. Because we all know that people who are using alcohol and drugs tend to have more emotional responses. And so I'm not saying it's okay for people who are minors to drink or to use drugs, but I do think that it happens. I suspect that it happens a lot that you get a call that somebody else is drinking or using drugs and feeling suicidal. Maybe the person who's calling in is drinking or using drugs. How do you handle that?
So just like everything in police work, we have discretion and every officer is different. The way I respond to a lot of those calls, I show up, I'm asking a lot of questions. You usually get indicators of impairment, whether it's their speech, an odor, something that they're doing. So I'll ask, is there alcohol involved? Are there drugs involved? Something like that. And they kind of freeze because they don't want to tell me, right? Especially if they're underage. And a lot of times I'll say, if you tell me, we can address that later or you won't get in trouble. I'll try to take that burden off of them just because, like you said, it can heighten emotions. It can change the way I go and talk to the victim now, stuff like that. When it comes to overdoses, stuff like that, we were talking about it before. I didn't know what it was called, but the Good Samaritan law. If me and Candace are out partying, she overdoses, and I'm the one that calls it in, and Morgan's the one that is waving the ambulance down as they come up, all three of us are granted immunity. And that's the maximum. I don't want people like huddle up around one person that's overdosing and think that they all are safe from it, just because I don't want to spread false stuff to you. But up to 3 people, including the victim, are safe from immunity of possession, consumption, stuff like that.
So don't hesitate to call.
Don't hesitate
if somebody at your party or in your house or whatever is overdosing.
And one thing that goes with that is it can't be anonymous. So if for the Good Samaritan law to work for you, you have to give me your name and your contact phone number.
So kind of going back a little bit to some of the services that you guys provide, Candace, this is more of a question for you, but how can we reach you other than getting in touch with the Marshall PD and they transfer me over to you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are located 1212 East College Drive here in Marshall. We have that open access policy where you can walk right on in 8 a.m. or 2 in the afternoon. And if there is availability, we'll get you in. Otherwise, as soon as tomorrow morning, we have that mobile crisis line. That phone number is right on our website. And then we also have our direct line during non-business hours, which will connect you to that mobile crisis line if you call. And then obviously law enforcement can also, if you call their emergency or non-emergency line, they can connect you that way as well. We do have a co-responder phone number, which I am more than happy to share with you guys, and that is 507-532-3236. Our direct line at Western is 507-532-3236. And both of those will be an option with it being the same number. They'll give you different options, and it will direct you to our mobile crisis line, co-responder, or our front desk, depending on your business hours. So that's the open access, mobile crisis, co-responder, and then law enforcement if need be. Now, when you have mobile crisis or a co-responder involved, that does not mean law enforcement has to be present. That is obviously based off of safety and assessment, which I would do, or the mobile crisis team. Now, if there are weapons or any alcohol or drugs, I mean, obviously they'll come just for safety purposes once the scene is assessed. Then if you feel more comfortable talking one-on-one with a provider, we can do that as well.
So another question for you, Candace. When you call, like, say, the crisis line, if there is an immediate threat that needs assistance, would you transfer them over to the PD, or how does that work?
Yes. So the mobile crisis team has a few individuals on every night, and then there's a team lead. And so it would not get transferred over to law enforcement right away. The main thing is to stay on the line with that individual and continue conversation. Never hang up. Never, not have the conversation going, unless obviously that individual also is in danger. Say it's more than one person at a time. Then they might try to talk them out of getting out of the house, things like that, but never to hang up. And law enforcement will be contacted on our end because there's multiple people on.
Okay.
And there was a recent change where if I call 911 because of a mental health crisis, I can ask law enforcement
To respond with the team.
With the crisis team.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I haven't had a call like that yet. A lot of times we show up, dispatch can notify them, and I think that's more of what will happen. Is we'll start heading our way, and then they'll call the crisis team at the same time and get them rolling.
Sure.
But then the crisis team will want more of that information, which is why we still respond. But there is that option to have us respond together.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk a little bit about overdosing real quick. If you come across somebody who's overdosing, what do you do?
I Narcan them, and then
What's Narcan?
Narcan is naloxone. Which there is stuff around campus that can show you how to use it. And then I'm pretty sure there's drop sites in Marshall now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's new within the last year or two.
Mm-hmm.
Because it wasn't when I was going to school here.
Right.
Where you can go and actually get Narcan if you're somebody that, goes out and parties a lot and people that use it. It's really good to carry. All police officers have to have 2 of them at a time. And if we use one, they refill it for us right away. But what we do is we go in and we treat it kind of like a heart attack right away or something like that. Tap them on the shoulder, see if they're all right, check pulse, check airway, check breathing. And then we'll ask the family. And again, if you're there and we're asking you, did they use anything tonight? Just be honest with us. We're not looking to get them in trouble. We're not looking to get you in trouble. I'm looking to keep them alive and your friend's still there the next day, So we'll Narcan them. And I think it's every 2 or 3 minutes. Something like that, where you can re-administer another dose. But at some point, you do start CPR as well.
Sure.
So,
sure.
But it's case by case with that, with how the Narcan's working. And then the ambulance gets paged out.
Sure. And public safety is carrying Narcan at this point. And so that's available. And I don't know what form they're carrying, but they are carrying it. So if you're in the dorms and something bad happens, you can call public safety and they can administer it. And obviously 911 is always a good option.
This is a question for both of you. If I were to be having a mental health crisis and I was too scared to call, what kind of advice would you give to me sitting here?
I would say, first and foremost, just don't hesitate to open up to like a friend, a teacher, a coach. I think everybody's, for the most part, willing to listen, or at least being able to redirect you to another service, whether that means that teacher, professor, coach is willing to even go to that appointment with you for more comfortability or help kind of search for different options for you. Just so then that way it kind of eases those nerves as well. And I just think it's really important to know, like, there's no shame in it. I do know that stigma kind of comes across maybe with some athletes, males in general. They're like, I don't want to go sit in a therapy appointment. This is silly, Candace. I don't want to follow up with you if I get a report from them. And there's nothing silly about it to take care of yourself, invest in yourself, because what you invest in yourself is what you're going to get out.
Police are people, so we care about you guys just as much as anybody else, right? Like, I'm gonna show up to a call, and if it's literally you just need to cry, I've sat with somebody while they cried and told me about their feelings, and I don't leave until they tell me that they either A, feel safe, or B, will let me take them to the hospital to talk to somebody. Because again, I'm not outside of your adult mental health class. I have zero training on mental health abilities, so I'll sit there and I'll perform the algae method. I'll ask questions, I'll listen, give advice, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I'm going to try and find a better outlet for them. But if it's me sitting there for an hour, unless a big police matter comes out, I don't need to leave. So traffic can wait.
Traffic can wait.
And I think that just goes to show, like, at the end of the day, we all are human. That humanistic mindset is all the way across the board, whether that's with law enforcement, mental health professionals. We just as well are humans. Outside of these jobs, we care about you. I'm a huge empath, so if you're sitting there and you need somebody to cry to, I'm going to be there, and I will sit there as long as you need. You want to hold hands, whatever works, I would say I'm probably more comfortable with that than maybe Jackson, but
yeah, Candace is usually the one crying. We got some good college cry sessions in, right?
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's
Nothing
really
wrong with
okay to feel your emotions and to understand them. I mean, when we are not feeling our emotions or really trying to understand them, sometimes we get angry with ourselves, and anger is always perceived as a bad thing, but it's not. It's really important to understand them and feel them, and I think that's really important for, your overall well-being as well.
I'm so proud of you guys.
Round of applause here.
I really appreciate your willingness to come in and do this. And I think it is important for SMSU students to have some idea as to what services are available in the community that they are living in. I think it's also important for our online students to have some understanding about how their communities would also interact with them. And I think this sends a message for both of those populations. So,
yeah, the co-responder thing is statewide, as far as I know. So it doesn't matter if you're in Marshall or if you're an online student up in Duluth.
Sure.
Like the Duluth PD or their county department will show up.
Right. And everybody has crisis lines.
Yeah.
Like every county in Minnesota has access to a crisis line for mental health. So
you could also take Amanda's adult mental health first aid class. It's a good class.
So now I'm hearing is that I need to sign up for it.
It's a great class. Like, you're not going to know what Candace knows in terms of helping people, but you can get through, that assessment and get them the help that they need.
Or even just for yourself. Like I
Yeah.
said earlier, investing in yourself, understanding yourself is really important, especially during like these years of college. From my freshman year of college to now, I'm a completely different person. I understand my feelings, emotions so much better, and even my own overall mental health. So I think just understanding them, educating yourself, there's nothing wrong with it. And even just your friends, those small reminders are really important.
Yeah, I was a business major when I started. So it's about what makes you happy, finding what makes you happy.
Oh, how the tables have turned.
How the turns table.
Well, I think that's all that I have, unless you have anything else you can think of.
Nope.
Do you guys have any final thoughts, words that you want our listeners here to know today?
please call us if you're feeling that way. I know police are scary, but we're really not. I mean, if you talk to us for 5 minutes, you'll get over that fear of us, I promise.
Yes, absolutely. Just invest in yourself, take care of yourself. Don't burn yourself out. And like he said, they're not scary. Call them. Half of them are young anyhow.
Yeah, we got real young department.
Yeah, it's true.
6 under 26 or something like that.
Wowzers.
Well,
Killing
thank
it.
you both for coming on to our podcast, and we really appreciate all of the insights that you gave us. So we will see you guys next time on the Mustang Blueprint.
Yeah, right.
So, what's kind of the difference between them?
So, I mean, mental health just really kind of focuses on the psychological aspect, like you are you kind of thing, where behavioral health would be more about like, what are the actionable things that we can do to like change things? And it's interesting because they get interchanged a lot, right? Like those words get interchanged a lot. Like even the unit, if you come to the hospital, it's called the behavioral health unit, right? But really we're focusing probably on your mental health there, but we're also deploying, or our goal would be to give you some strategies and tools to maybe change behavior to get a different outcome too.